当朝散播天魔教教义，拖出去，砍了！
燕康国妄图变法，若想平息这场灾难，
却连续下了10几日，有古怪。
罢黜国师，仙和神如何区分？
Qin Mu brought Duke Wei into the Heavenly Saint sect, then returned to the Imperial College. By this time, night had already fallen, yet he saw Fan Yunxiao waiting at the mountain gate. Fan Yunxiao told Qin Mu that his flying cloud pirate ship had fallen apart mid-air, and he had lost a large sum of money. He wanted to ask Qin Mu to help forge an ironclad ship. Upon learning that Fan Yunxiao had already prepared the blueprints and materials, and had even secured a merchant ship overseer construction yard, Qin Mu immediately agreed, and promised to build the ironclad ship before the Imperial College closed for the holidays. The next day, Fan Yunxiao brought Qin Mu to the merchant ship overseer construction yard. After reviewing the blueprints and making more than a dozen modifications, Qin Mu said he needed some helpers, and drove Fan Yunxiao out of the workshop. Before closing the door, Qin Mu specifically warned him no matter what noises he heard from inside, he must not peek, otherwise he would bear the consequences himself. At that very moment, heavy snow suddenly began to fall inside and outside the capital city, and for several consecutive days there was no sign of it stopping. Fan Yunxiao kept guarding the workshop entrance. Even though he was extremely curious about the noises inside, he did not dare to take a single look. After several more days, he finally could not suppress his curiosity. He secretly pushed open the workshop door, only to be caught red-handed by the Dutian Devil King standing guard inside. When he saw the more than 200 Heavenly Devil sect members inside the workshop, Fan Yunxiao was instantly dumbfounded. To save his own life, he immediately decided to join the Heavenly Devil sect. In the end, the Heavenly Works Hall and the Craftsman Hall joined forces to forge 5 ironclad tower ships, 3 large ships, and 2 small ships. Qin Mu told Fan Yunxiao that the large ships were suitable for transporting troops into battle, while the small ships were more suited to his line of work. Thus, the small ships were assigned to him. At the same time, Qin Mu specifically instructed Fan Yunxiao after joining the Heavenly Saint sect. He could rob wealth, but he must never take lives or violate women. Fan Yunxiao agreed to everything, then departed with his subordinates aboard the ships. At this moment, Qin Mu sensed something was wrong. The snow had fallen continuously for more than 10 days. Something was strange. The next day, Gu Linyuan announced that the Imperial College would begin its New Year holiday. The scholars immediately cheered. Meanwhile, Fan Yunxiao commanded the cloud-chasing pirate ship southward, only to discover that for tens of thousands of miles along the way, it was snowing everywhere. At the scholar's residence, Qin Mu was packing his belongings, preparing to return to the Great Ruins for the new year. Suddenly, officials from the Guozijian arrived with a summons. Emperor Yanfeng ordered all officials of 6th rank and above to attend court. When Qin Mu arrived at court, he found the main hall already packed with officials. With a worried expression, Emperor Yanfeng said, "A rebel dares to revolt, yet I remain as steady as if seated at the fishing terrace. Fortunately, the national preceptor shares my burdens. But now the national preceptor has taken his wife Jin Yang traveling and has not yet returned. And at present, there is a matter that threatens the fate of the Dian Kang nation itself. The entire territory of the Dian Kang nation is covered in snow north to south, 90,000 miles, east to west, 80,000 miles without exception, and it has continued for more than 10 days. The Minister of Agriculture then gave a detailed report on the severity of the disaster. On 2/3 of the Dian Kang nation's land, all crops would be frozen to death. Next year, there would be absolutely no harvest. The common people, in order to keep warm, would also cut down trees in large numbers, which would inevitably cause mountain floods and other disasters in the future. Even more troublesome, the allocation of grain for disaster relief faced numerous dilemmas. If the snow stopped within the next few days, the losses could still be minimized. But if it did not stop, the nation would be in peril and the state in danger. After hearing this, all the ministers were at a loss. At this moment, a civil official stepped forward, accusing the disaster of being caused by the national preceptor's reforms angering heaven. Emperor Yanfeng flew into a rage and immediately ordered his execution. Drag him out. Execute him. At the same time, he firmly supported the national preceptor and ordered all officials to come up with a solution otherwise. None of them would be allowed to return home for the new year. As the hall fell into dead silence and no one dared speak, Qin Mu stepped forward and proposed mobilizing all divine art practitioners across the nation to use gourd-type spirit treasures to collect the dark clouds in the sky. He also suggested that Emperor Yan Feng personally visit each province to set an example. The emperor readily agreed and asked Qin Mu about follow-up measures for the snow disaster. Qin Mu then spoke of the Heavenly Saint sect's doctrines, proposing that divine art practitioners assist the common people in replanting crops and regulating agricultural work, and that the Bureau of Heavenly Observation store various forms of celestial phenomenon energy for future emergencies. Unexpectedly, as soon as he finished speaking, another civil official stood up and accused him, spreading the doctrines of the Heavenly Devil sect in court, bringing disaster upon the nation and the people. He should be executed. Emperor Yan Feng ordered that this official be stripped of his position. He then commanded Qin Mu to accompany him to the provinces for disaster relief. Qin Mu immediately showed reluctance, saying he still needed to return to his village for the new year, and instead recommended several suitable candidates. Emperor Yan Feng happily approved. Watching from the side, Heavenly King Wei thought to himself, with the national preceptor absent these days, he is taking the opportunity to plant his own people. In the great thunderclap temple of Mount Sumeru in the west, old Rulai discerned that this heavy snow in the Diankang nation was a warning from celestial phenomena. He also mentioned that before the divine kingdom of the great ruins was destroyed, a similar phenomenon had appeared. He said the Diankang nation attempts to carry out reforms. If it wishes to quell this disaster, dismiss the national preceptor. At that moment, an envoy sent by the crown prince of the Diankang nation requested an audience. Old Rulai believed that the crown prince might be the savior of the Diankang nation. Meanwhile, at Jade Void Mountain in Kunlun, the Tao master also perceived that this celestial phenomenon was a warning against the reforms. Though dissatisfied with Emperor Yan Feng, the emperor's knowledge is too shallow, thinking of the innocent people of the world. He still ordered the Tao sect to descend the mountain to provide disaster relief. On the other side, Qin Mu also issued orders throughout the Heavenly Saint sect. Relieve the disaster and save the people. Not only remove the dark clouds, but also help farmers clear frozen seedlings and replant crops. At the same time, he instructed the sect members to remain vigilant against potential unrest in a year of disaster. As for doubts about accepting imperial titles, Qin Mu told them to accept calmly. He sighed that many divine art practitioners now held themselves aloof, unwilling to exert effort for ordinary people, and might even take advantage of the chaos to cause trouble. Meanwhile, the national preceptor brought his newlywed wife Jin Niang to Little Jade capital in the heavens. Previously, before his death, Jen Sanren had urged him that Little Jade capital possessed something that could change his thinking. Now the two had stayed in Little Jade capital for more than 10 days. The recluse of Qingyu Mountain received the national preceptor and his wife. He claimed to be an immortal, not a god. The national preceptor then asked, "How do immortals differ from gods?" The recluse explained, "Immortals are human. Gods are not. Now everyone's divine bridge is severed, making it impossible to become a god. Only during the era of the founding emperor did someone reconnect the divine bridge and become a god. But the divine dynasty that was established later turned to ashes and vanished. And the founding emperor's nation of that time is today's great ruins." The recluse also revealed that the Diankang nation had received a divine oracle, the ones they truly needed to guard against were not the abandoned people of the great ruins, but the surviving people living in the land of no worries within the great ruins, whose divine bridges remained intact. That concludes the preview analysis of this episode. Thank you all for watching. I'm Lao Meng. See you in the next video.